On my friend
Hello, Sean.
Hey Ventus,
How's it going?
it's going pretty shitty. I'm recording this call.
Gotcha. So, I'm listening. So,
I'm having issues. I'm trying to explain to them what's going on with my situation, and like with you, with your situation, you're all hush hush about it, which I understand. You still got a case to win, but with a lot of these folks, when I try to explain to them everything that I'm going through, I'm trying to explain to them that I have to continue going through this until they come forward and tell the truth. And their excuses are fucking abhorrent.
and so their excuses are all important.
Yeah.
Like, what are their excuses?
Well, see, if I talk to them calmly, then I'm trying to explain to them my situation and why it's important for them to tell the truth and write it down. Like a lot of them, like Brandon Ratner, he's a witness to a lot of this stuff, and I have it recorded. It's on YouTube. It's not like it's some big secret, but the thing is, I keep trying to explain to these folks, hey, there's a way that you're supposed to do it and the way that you can't. And there's consequences for me for the fact that they didn't come forward. I mean, I've been through 4 years of this. All of their suggestions, I'm trying to explain to them what's going on, and they're too busy making suggestions. Well, their suggestions aren't going to work, and I'm trying to explain to them that I've tried. Literally, somebody in person is required. The cops wrote down stuff that was outright lies, and I have evidence of that. And I also have evidence of the assaults and the harassment by the police in the jails. But they keep getting away with it because they call me mentally ill, and people like Brandon Ratner won't come forward in court. I mean, I recorded everything so I can prove that it's all true, but the problem is that they won't listen to me because of the term mentally ill. Someone else has to speak for me. I have to have a guardian.
Gotcha.
I can't take care of myself, Ventus. I have money every month that comes in, but I can't get an apartment. I can't nothing. And people keep blaming that on me for having meltdowns over abuse. Nobody will do anything about the abuse, Brandon. That's the thing. I can't take care.
You're still being abused there, Nebraska.
Oh, dude, it doesn't matter where I go, I'm abused. I can't financially take care of myself. I can't get into housing. I am subject to abuse as a homeless person, and you know that routine.
Okay, so what would you need to get into housing?
I would need to fight my court cases.
You need to fight your court cases. Okay.
I need to go back all of the court cases that they fucking railroaded me in. I have to take all of the evidence that I've collected, and I have to have someone who will go with me so that I'm not abused. And I'm not trying to be racist here, but you're black. That might not be a good thing to try to go in with you, but I'm willing to try.
Gotcha. Alright. Well, I mean, I'd totally be willing to try too. I mean, I also, being black and with my experience, to be honest, I don't think it's a good idea. But
See,
dude, I'm also suing your police department, which a lot of people also say isn't a good idea. So,
I was in Aurora when Natalie died. That was one of the 5 original jurisdictions where they did everything in their power to threaten, harass, and intimidate me. They literally did everything they could, every dirty trick they could. They even tried to break my wrist. Told me to stop resisting. I'm like, I'm not fucking resisting. You're trying to break my wrist. They were supposed to be taking me somewhere to make a police report about all of the shit that was going on, but they didn't. All they wanted to do was push the mentally ill thing. I knew what they were doing as soon as they showed up. I've already been through that routine. I've seen it 100 times. Every homeless person has seen it 100 times. You're gonna show up and give empty promises and then fucking haul you away. Like Sam, fucking, he came back wearing that Walmart thing as a skirt. I'm like, what the hell happened? They took him to a nuthatch and fucking injected him with drugs, and they keep doing that to me every time I try to go in by myself and show them evidence. There's every excuse not to, investigate it, and I have to fear to turn in my predators. I've got literally thousands of evidence. I could spend the rest of my life in court, Ventus.
Okay. Then we'll fight it. Alright, now is the court cases themselves preventing you from getting housing, or like the court cases are
The thing that prevents me from getting housing is a meltdown that I had over having absolutely no help, having my life threatened, having people assault me and throw beer bottles at me and threaten my life here in this town, and the sheriff wouldn't do anything about it. Before Natalie died, I went to the cops here in Chapel, Nebraska first.
okay. So
That's not true. I went to a beat cop. On Pearl Street Mall when I was the second day I was in Boulder. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I was going to ask you, were any of the charges you had, like here in Colorado, for violent charges, like any of the ones that stuck?
No, they dropped the charges on them, but they used them to control the media and thereby control the people. And a lot of the predators that I have to deal with are as a result of that. They charged me with assault against a police officer with a history of assaulting homeless people in specific.
Okay, so then you would come to Colorado, and let's say, say I had a spot for you, then would you be able to fight your case staying in that spot, since you would have housing, but you'd have the ability to fight the case without being abused, at the very least? Because while you have housing, they won't be able to say that you are homeless. And as long as they won't be able to say that you're homeless, then as a citizen here in Denver, you'd have a little bit more constituting about you, especially when I would go in with you. I mean, it's still just words, but it's like...
Well, I've got the evidence to show you, so it wouldn't be just words. You can see the evidence for yourself.
No, I say it's just words. I mean, like, when we say that we're like a citizen versus being a homeless person, really it's just words to police. But it really, to anyone that's trying to control you, they don't really care about rules or words or anything. They care about whether or not you're actually going to fight back. They use rules to basically keep you in check, to keep you from fighting back.
Yeah, and they helped out all my predators because those predators didn't have to follow those rules. the thing is that it was police officers and my friends blowing me off for an entire year before Natalie was killed that ultimately resulted in that whole situation. I needed help, and there was a lot of people who made a lot of bad decisions that weren't my fault, and it prevented me from getting the help that I was trying to get. And people to this day tell me I need to jump through those hoops and get that help. I'm like, you're telling me this like I haven't tried. I've totally done it. The thing is, if you go in with me, you'll be the only person who actually made an honest effort at such a thing.
Of course, I'll go with you.
But also, I've got 3 years worth of court dates that I got slammed in because nobody came forward. And like, that's a lot for one person to handle. It's especially when they have to constantly move, especially since they are actually being targeted like daily. The stuff that I'm going through right now, if I move to Colorado and I change my address to there, then they can come and get me because they'll have my address and do whatever the hell they want. They put me at risk of predators, and then they helped my predators to get away with all the things that my predators were doing. My safety is not a concern in the state of Colorado. They would just as soon shoot me, and that's no joke. They hate me more than they hate black people. That's for damn sure. I can try.
No, I mean it's just a possibility, you know. It's something that because I can help you a lot more where I live. You know?
Yeah.
So it's because I can help you a lot more and provide more support for you where I live.
Well, that's part of the thing with them using the laws the way they have. The reason that I'm not able to be there to get that support in person is because of the shit that the cops did. But then there's the fact that it stresses people out because it takes up their time and it takes up their money, and it's tough for them to make time in their schedule. Meanwhile, I got to make time in mine, and we're all stressed out on money and we're all stressed out on time. And I just, they're allowed to get angry, they're allowed to get stressed, and they're not even the ones going through this.
Yeah. Well, I want to provide as much help for you as I can. That's why I just kind of think of the best way that I can help you. And so I'm just giving you options, bro. You also offered to help me get out there to help you. So if I need to go there, I'll take the time to do it. I'm only working my own business right now. So,
You're doing music, you still boarding?
Yeah, dude. I run my own music label, and I just do the music label full time. I had my board stolen recently, so I had to take another one out of the retirement. But I still got the ability to board, dude. I was just practicing yesterday, and things are working okay.
Shit, I can't even stand on a board anymore. I can't get on it. Part of having a screwed up back, but that's pretty badass that you still got one. It just sucks that there's thieves everywhere.
Yeah, that's okay, dude. It's honestly not okay, but what can I do other than deal with it?
Right? At least try. There's
if I had been more attentive, my board wouldn't have been stolen. And that was on me. And I've already accepted that. Whether I get it back, it's also up to me. So, yeah. It's all dependent. There are things that I've accepted about it. The one thing I accepted was I lost my boy because I could have been more attentive. Someone took it from my possession, but it was I who was not attentive enough to just keep hold of it and not allow that to happen in the first place.
Yeah.
So that was my mistake.
That's what it's like being homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, that bag gets you targeted, but if you set it down, it's going to get stolen, and then you might freeze to death.
Uh, yeah. I'm used to that life, bro. I've helped people in that lifestyle. Got out of it. I've been in and out of homelessness.
Well, if there's, you have a lawyer you can talk to, right?
Yeah, I got a lawyer.
Can you find out?
That's not entwined with the state either, so they're a private entity.
Well, is there any way you could ask him? Because I'd like to go down there. I do need help in person, but I also want to be safe from the police because the evidence that I have does show a lot of wrong things that they did, and they've repeatedly targeted me as a result of it.
All right.
So I need to find a way. If there's a way that I can, I want to do things the right way, but I've been prevented from doing it. And that's because of the safety issue with the police, especially in Colorado.
Okay. So, what I would do then, the person that I'm going through, he works through Ontario law. Ontario law is, speaking of which, I need to get a hold of them because I need to make sure everything is in order with my case.
God, they did such fucked up shit to you. Sorry, we're not talking about that. I didn't mean to.
Nah, dude, it's okay. Like, dude, so like, a lot of people really don't understand this. But from the very beginning of my life, I've been plagued with nothing but trauma. Not just being born, you know. I'm the product of rape. So I'm a rape child. My father is a career criminal who who during the beginning years came in and out to threaten and abuse my mom for having me or keeping me. When he was no longer in my life, then my mom herself, out of stress and inability to handle 4 kids growing up, also became abusive. I had to deal with her having to go back and forth and literally having a psychological split in her mind that made it so that she, one moment, is trying to show me the best and most love that she can because of the circumstances of my birth, but while also being traumatized by the event that caused my birth. Having always seen me as an enemy, and especially because I look exactly like my father does.
So you got to take the punishment for something you didn't do.
Yeah. She also is dealing with the punishment for something that she basically chose to handle. She could have easily chose to not abort me, but in order to save my life and give me a free shot at the world, she chose to deal with trauma and all the after effects that came with that trauma, which she didn't originally sign up for. She wasn't expecting to have a son who was going to look like the same guy that raped her and abused her.
Yeah, I get that.
And
I can put myself in your shoes.
But out of the control of my mom, I was also raped and sexually molested as a child multiple times. My youngest love in life, my very first love, died in my arms as a 12-year-old boy. My best friend as a kid when I was 8 years old was hit by a car and ran over. I have lost numerous pets, numerous family members, and numerous friends growing up to different types of tragedies involving death. And even as to just recently having my eldest sister die from overdosing of pain medications because of the opioid epidemic we're in here in America, and my friend Jordan, who also died from overdosing of her pain medications because not because of being addicted to drugs, but because of the fact that her medications were overly prescribed to her because they didn't understand the levels of pain that she was dealing with because of her fibromyalgia, the issues that she was dealing with, her autoimmune disorders, and the fact that she had recently broken both her ankles.
I can't say nothing about any of that because I get treated like I'm schizophrenic and hallucinating it. But you're right, that's all the stuff I speak out about. Maybe not the ankle breaking, but the opium fucking thing. I mean, that's Natalie and her whole family, that and fucking meth. Like, oh my God. Like, yeah, dude, you fucking know trauma.
Yeah, dude. So that's also why I understand and I help people so much because I understand trauma. I understand people. I understand people who have experienced trauma. I understand like people who literally whose minds are fucked up because of the trauma that has occurred to them, and that it's become so hard for them to trust or to know what's going on, to really understand the world, or believe that anyone in the world is actually out for them to help them. That's not trying to destroy everything that they're trying to build.
A lot of people, they just don't know. They don't understand, so they don't put their efforts in the right place. They don't understand that kind of trauma. They don't understand that kind of loss. A lot of people wanted to compare everything that's happened to me in the last 4 years to them losing a dog. I'm like, this is not the same as losing a dog. When you lose a dog, you don't end up homeless. People don't try to fucking beat you to death. You don't get slammed in fucking jail and injected with fucking drugs. Those very same drugs I'm speaking out about killed more than one of your family. Like, yeah, that's you got firsthand experience where these other fucking fuds just want to talk out their ass. Like their opinion is more important than fact, you know? Like I can't pretend after growing up in the system that black people ain't got it rough. But if you a white boy in the system, you got it rougher.
You say if you're what going in the system, you have it rougher?
If you're a white boy in the system, you have it rougher.
Why do you say that?
Because them fucking black kids hated me because I was white. Everybody that they had to deal with, their fucking social worker was fucking white. The judge was white. The arresting officer was white. And then here they are, they're in an institution full of black kids, and here's this fucking white kid. Oh yeah, I was well fucking liked.
And I don't think that makes it worse for you in the system. Anyway, if anything, that just makes it you the product of the system itself. That makes you a tool in the system.
Yeah, but I'm smarter than the system, so instead of hating black kids for beating on me, I understood why they were in there. Eventually, I just let them beat me up just cause. Because I remember when I was like, right, 12 or 13, there was this kid, well, I beat him up pretty good. I let him know a couple of times, don't fucking put your hands on me. Please stop hitting me. And he beat me up a couple of times without me defending myself. And finally, I was like, I got enough of this. And I beat the holy hell out of him. And, I remember everybody screaming at him, fucking, you better not let that white boy punk you. You fucking let him win. Fucking, we're going to take your black card. And they fucking did. They were mean to that sumbitch. But after that, every time I heard them words, you best not let that white boy punk you. I put up enough of a fight to get some respect, but I always let him win. When I became an adult, I didn't go blaming all blacks and Mexicans for all the shit that blacks and Mexicans in the system had done to me. And the fucked up part is that the kids that, like, we always called them Mexicans. They're like, oh yeah, we're the Mexicans. And, you know, the white kids are like, yeah, they're the Mexicans and they're the blacks and they're the whites. And that's what we called each other. And, you know, as an adult, you got all this politically correct stuff. And it's like, you know, none of them kids were actually Mexican. All of them were born in the United States, or nearly all of them. There was one kid from Ecuador. He was kind of like, he was out there. He got shot in the head and it messed his head up. So, like, for him, that was different. But all the rest of them, yeah, they spoke picture perfect English. Some of them spoke Spanish too, but they were all Americans. I don't understand racist, but I'm also not able to pretend that it's just white people that are racist. I see it everywhere.
Well, I never really, I'm not a racist either, but I'm a nihilist for a reason. You know, racism isn't something only one race does. Racism can be performed by anybody. It
Exactly.
doesn't matter what your race is. Now, it's the same thing with any sort of like action done to a person. I don't see any action or experience as a good or bad experience. I just see them all as experiences. They're all like how we feel about them is how we feel about each experience. But good or bad is just a construct. Everything that we see in a good light, we can also equally see in a bad light. We're always just choosing to be one sided or the other. But the reality of what happens is still the same. It doesn't matter how you're viewing it.
I try explaining that.
A person dying in the street is still a person dying in the street. Looking at it good or bad doesn't really change what it is, but acknowledging what it is helps us decide whether or not we want it.
Kind of like whether somebody lied on purpose or if they just thought that it was true at the time, the outcome is still the same.
Exactly. The outcome is the same. How you feel about it doesn't necessarily change what happens. But now that you understand that the outcome is the same, regardless of how you look at it, now you can decide what you want to actually do about it.
People tend to change the facts a lot when they're angry. Like, you know, there's stuff that is absolutely true and they'll admit it that it's true, but then when they're angry, like, all of a sudden their view on a particular occasion is completely different. But that doesn't change the effects of that. Like, I was arguing with Brandon tonight, and, you know, he's making all these excuses, and I'm like, see, it doesn't matter if you did it on purpose or on accident. It's the fact that you did it. The results for me are the same.
Exactly. Like, and that's kind of the point. Like, people feel that intention should have the ability to change what happens. But the only people, in my opinion, the only people that feel the intention matters more than what happens are people who don't care about the truth.
Yep. And that's all I'm trying to do is show the truth. A lot of people are mad at me because I recorded them, and I'm like, hey, you know, here's the thing is that what the police said and what the court said is completely different from what you said. And if you're telling the truth, you should have no problem saying that in court.
I got no problem saying anything that I've said over this phone in court, bro.
Yeah. There's a lot of other people that said that, but they didn't. I really wish I'd have been able to get a hold of you from the start. But that's, you know, neither here nor there. That doesn't fix the situation. You know, a lot of people they don't want to put any effort towards, you know, remedying the situation. Like, if they don't admit that they screwed up in court somehow, it makes it okay. I'm like, well, you admitted you screwed up. That makes a lot of difference. But also, in order to stop the violence against me and the stuff that I'm going through, you do have to take that to court. You can't just say it to me and have it be good enough. And a lot of these people, they're like, oh, well, I tried. And they tell me about all the occasions they tried. And I'm like, well, if you say that in court, it'll make a difference.
Mhm.
But they all seem to be of this obsessive mind that if they pretend that that it doesn't exist, and if they look away, then it'll just stop. And that's from experience, it doesn't work that way. There are certain situations where it works, but the ones where it doesn't, it really doesn't. Like when you say, hey, when you got a problem and you need to take it to an authority figure like a police officer. Well, if the drug cartels own the police officers, it's probably not going to do you any good. If you don't know that they own the police, then you might get yourself shot by some cops.
But if you take up a gun and you go shooting up the cartels yourself, you at least might be able to make a change and do something that you feel is different rather than having someone tell you, give you an answer that doesn't work.
See, that's everybody's idea. Everybody's got this idea that they're gonna be dirty Harry about this shit. Like when I was telling them about the Bollingers and that fucked up shit and the cop situation, the cop part went right through their head and out the other side. And then like they're telling me, oh well, if I got kids, you know, if somebody comes through that door, I got a 45. I'll shoot them between their eyes. And I'm like, yeah, that's just gonna make them a martyr. And second of all, yeah, you're thinking in fucking fantasy la-la-ville here. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ted Bollinger and his friends would definitely do something like that, but not with that much fucking attention, I would think. But then there's also the fact that it wasn't him who came and fucking intimidated Candace over that. It was the fucking cops and her landlord.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. The whole reason, at least in this country, that we have the right to bear arms is to go against the police and also government officials that are trying to improve the process and to be able to protect
Unless
ourselves.
you have been in a mental institution or been given psychotropic medications, which is exactly what they did when I tried to turn in the officers for assaulting me. Repeatedly, by the way. Also, they took me to the jails and they repeatedly put me on suicide watch for turning in the officers at the jail for assaulting me. I have multiple written statements, at least a few of them left. Most of them got thrown away by the officers. But I have a few left from some of the other inmates. I also have recordings. Did I send you that recording from George?
You did not.
All right. Well, he was a witness to the officers, 7 of them assaulted me in the Boulder County Jail in the hole. They just kept on doing this the whole time I was there. It was fucking disgusting. Like literally the whole time I was there, they pulled this shit. But George is a witness to it. I got him on my YouTube channel. I'll pull it up right now and send it to your Facebook if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
George is just one of literally hundreds of conversations with witnesses. And these conversations, as well as the screenshots that go along with them and my Facebook, show that every step of the way I was trying to get help. They show that every step of the way the narrative that was being sold about me wasn't true.
You there. What they're doing to you is not okay. You need compassion. But
well, if I could get people to actually speak up for me.
My friend. So, like, I got you. The only, as I say to everyone, as I've always said, man, I don't do control mechanisms. So as long as you're not controlling me, we're always going to be okay. I will always have your back. I've also learned recently that even when people control me, I'm very patient and very, what's that word, forgiving. But to a certain point.
I was too forgiving and it fucks me. So you can't be too forgiving. When somebody fucking lies to you, you gotta fucking check them on that shit or get the fuck away from it. In my situation, I wish getting away was an option.
I'm definitely on that level, dude. When it comes to when it gets to a certain point, then that's when I'm like, this is done. I'm not allowing this anymore. Or this new thing. Like, it's kind of like when the idea of someone like hitting you, you know, I'm totally against hitting someone. I'm totally against beating somebody. But I'm also a fourth degree black belt in Shin style Tai Chi, Yang style Tai Chi, and Itori style Kendo. So I am totally capable of hitting someone. I have hit people. I have beaten people. I have destroyed things. I have destroyed weapons. I have gone through a lot of different ways of harm to a force outside of myself. And even I still, when it boils down to it, it's only my discipline that keeps me from destroying people. But dude, I'm just willing to destroy anyone that is willing to destroy me. Because I believe we see and treat the world as a reflection as we see and treat ourselves. And if the world is willing to destroy us, we should be just as equally willing to destroy any part of the outside world seeking to do so.
So you think self-defense is okay?
You said so. See, self-defense. I guess you can call it self-defense. I call it countering. At least that's what the master called it. Is countering. Always waiting for an external force to push against you before you push back.
Well, that's what I do.
Initiating force, but still having the ability to respond to force when it occurs. Being able to put up your guard or to deflect any force upon its initial encroachment. That's what I like. That's what I focus on.
Well, something I've been trying to explain to people is
self-defense. Yes, but there's also self-defense itself is defined as you receiving harm first. Countering only doesn't require you to be harmed. It just requires force to be aggressed against you. You don't even have to let yourself be harmed when the force aggresses.
Well, then I'm not countering. I'm defending 100%. If that's the difference between the two, I'm not countering. I'm defending.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just continue to take all of these assaults and have these assailants use all of the court dates that I was prevented from speaking up in and prevented from showing evidence in as their excuse and justification for that harm. It's kind of like when somebody fucking assaults me in January of 2018 and I am continuing to have to deal with the consequences of that assault physically in 2020. Yeah, something needs to be done about that.
100% right, bro. Something does need to be done about that.
A lot of people.
And that's why I feel that what you need, bro, what you need to do is switch your stance. You need to switch from being defensive, and you need to go to counter. So, because right now, as I was saying, you keep taking in all the hits, keep taking all the damage, and whenever you try to do something about it, you just receive the aggression. But what we need to do is build you strong, so you have the ability to counter. So that way, whenever someone aggresses, before there's even any damage, there's already a barrier that prevents them from damaging you and immediately causes them to experience the same force they put onto you or they try to aggress over you.
Well, once you start seeing what was done to me and said about me in court and a lot of the other evidence, you'll see how big of a battle this really is. This could change lives everywhere. That's not a joke.
Well, dude, there's only the biggest battle in life for me is the battle for freedom and control. That is all, bro. Everything in life stems from freedom or control.
You should watch Space Pirate Captain Harlock. Huh? I said you should try watching Space Pirate Captain Harlock.
What's that? Is that like a show about a pirate that's about freedom?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I should watch it. Space Captain,
Space
Space
Pirate
Pirate
Captain
Captain
Harlock.
Harlock.
Yep. Matter of fact, I am. Let's see. Is this it? It is. All right. I'm showing you the link now. Copy video URL and sending it to your Facebook. The one, there's two of them there now, two links on your Facebook. One of them is George, witness to assault and harassment. And the other one is a link to the Space Pirate Captain Harlock.
Okay. All right.
It's English dubbed. You might be able to find a Japanese one if you want to watch it.
Oh, is it like an anime?
Well, yeah, but it's a 1970s anime, and the one that I sent to you is the 2013 remake. It's all CGI and shit.
Oh, okay.
But it's in Japanese, so I mean, you don't have to listen to it in English if you don't want to.
Very cool. I'll probably look at the Japanese version then, just because I like this. I mean, I don't need subtitles, but like I'm much more into actually just like listening with my ears than actually like.
You like to watch the movie, not the subtitles.
Yeah, and like when it's done in the language that it was like written in, or when you're speaking it or using the vocals in the language that it was written in, then it's always better. It always just comes out better because people have a better understanding of what is supposed to be represented. But like it's not done that way when it's like dubbed. Because translating shit to English isn't always the same as what the original language it is. That's why they call it the broken language.
Well, English is definitely a mud language, especially American English. I mean, there's all the terms and terminology that they're what they mean, and then there's American usage. Like we use it out of context until it means something different. If everybody's ignorant enough to use the word the wrong way, eventually it means what they think it means. Common usage. I'm still trying to find a way to get you up here. If your lawyer says there's a way that I can go down there and do that down there, I am totally down with that. I do have to worry about my safety in that situation, because if they arrest me or lock me up, then they'll torture me again, and I don't have anyone that's going to go through my evidence with me, or anybody who's going to call and make sure that I'm okay, or make sure that any of that stuff is all the way that it should be.
I understand. Yeah.
But they're killing people, Ventus, and that's the thing that they're fucking pushing drugs on us for everything. That's their solution to this problem, is to drug me up and pretend that I'm insane. And you know what? The drugs that they're trying to put in me are killing people. They fucking put the drugs in me that they put in Elijah McClain on at least 13 different occasions. They killed Tibor Hatay with those fucking drugs. They kill a lot of people with those drugs, and that's their solution when I try to turn in a predator. If I can get somebody to look at the evidence with me and speak up, then I can get a new court date in every single one of my court dates, because they outright lied, outright left out information, omitted information, and refused to allow evidence that was pertinent to the case. They also abused their power in order to try to cover up their crimes. But the fact that I can prove it, I just need somebody to take a look at it with me, whether that's you coming up here or me going down there. The safer of the two would be you coming up here, but I don't think anybody would like do anything serious because you're black, because like most of these guys, they're still cowards. But it is KKK country.
You said, no, but you're in Nebraska, you said, though, right?
Yeah, I'm right against the Colorado border.
Okay. All right. I got a favorite ticket to redeem there, so I just gotta figure out getting up there.
Well, there's a shuttle that goes from Denver to here. Also, I might want to warn you, Officer Lolotai, the one that was beating up all those people in Boulder, including me.
Yeah.
He's an officer in Aurora now.
Yeah, I already know that. Officer Lolotai is under a lot of persecution right now in Aurora. I already know. Me and some other people have been talking about it.
It was his assault against me and the things that they did that day that resulted in all of this bullshit being as incredibly fucking convoluted as it was. Cops just wanted to blow me off because I went in by myself. And then no matter how many times I went in by myself calmly, they always blew me off. And then when I'm having a fucking meltdown because people are fucking dead, then they victimize me. Like, holy hell.
Gravitas, what the fuck, bro? Alright. Sorry. Just so you know, my friend just arrived here, and I'm also in the middle of playing this game. Or not in the middle, I just started playing the game because my friend got here.
What game?
It's Smite.
Smite? S-M-Y-T-E?
Yeah. S-M-I-T-E. Yeah, but it's a game where you basically, you know what a MOBA is? A mobile online battle arena?
I know. Like Tekken?
No, it's not like Tekken. It's like League of Legends. You ever hear of that game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like League of Legends, basically. That's exactly what this game is. League of Legends, but instead of being top mounted, it's third person, so you can actually do things way better.
You can see the cool armor that you just spent 6 weeks grinding for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And technically, and the characters and the animations look flashier than they do in League. So, it's like, dude, it's just really fun. But it's also really competitive. And I feel like, whenever I'm playing it, I'm like really anal about just trying to focus on it. It's really bad. But that's because it's also a test of my ADD. Because this game requires like so much attention and so much strategy. It's like playing chess while playing a video game. But like, with like different characters that have like designed different ways, there's no one character or no one strategy that's like the best strategy or that always wins, there's just like really just, it all depends on how you play a certain character.
That's kind of like Rome Total War. That's chess for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Each nation has different chess pieces though, so it's more realistic. And you don't all have the same number of chess pieces either. If you decide to build economy first, then you can do a lot of really cool stuff, but you might get conquered. If you build your military first, you might end up broke, and then you end up with civil strife and disease and outbreaks all over the place. If you don't build toilets, though, in Rome Total War, your people are gonna fucking die. Oh my god, I love the Ninja Turtles! Sorry. When I was a kid, I thought Michelangelo was the coolest Ninja Turtle. As an adult, I think Michelangelo is the coolest Ninja Turtle. Who's your favorite?
I don't have a favorite, actually. I guess Leonardo would have been my favorite leader. He's also a dual wielder, which is also why he's always been my favorite. It's because I relate to him more than any other Ninja Turtle, because I always use two swords.
So did Genghis Khan.
I'm always dual wielding. Like, even with me, like, boarding, so, like, with my longboards, I was already planning on bringing Scarlet out of retirement because I had Zephyr. And Zephyr and Scarlet are twin models, so they're made to be similar to each other. Like, even though there's like differences between them and upgrades, Zephyr that aren't necessarily with uh, Scarlet, like still in all, like, oh, but okay, I need to stay focused on this game. Alright. I was dying for the third time there. Oh no, I did just die for the third time there, and it's like less than 3 minutes. Okay. Alright.
I am killing your concentration.
You said what?
I said I am killing your concentration.
It's totally cool. It's totally cool. It's just a video game. It's just a game. Like that's one of the things that I also try to tell, like, you know, my ex-girlfriend Beatrice, is that, like, you know, yeah, okay, so I get really frustrated when she like interrupts me in the middle of playing this game. It takes like my focus from it. But really, like, the thing I'm upset about is that she doesn't understand that it's interrupting a process in me trying to build a mental exercise, which is me trying to multitask and also trying to defeat my ADHD and my ADD.
Sometimes you just gotta step away from reality.
Mm-hmm. That's actually when it's easiest for me to break away from ADHD, is when I'm focusing on a game. You know, so that it's in, and I actually thought that it was kind of truly fitting, like that. And I know this is on a recorded call, so I probably shouldn't say this. but ever since I like suffered my accident that crushed 4 ribs, collapsed my lung, tore a ligament in my shoulder, and killed me on Eldora Mountain for 15 minutes on that helicopter ride, and then woke up, I found it so fitting that, like, of all the things that could have happened, like, that could have literally been like, okay, yeah, like, I can't, like, out of this, fuck, God damn it, I died again. This is a really bad game. Alright. Alright. The thing that I could have, the thing that, of all the things that could have happened, like me not being able to speak coherently, me not being able to talk or move my body, me not being able to even be able to shit on my own or even use my dick. Like, shit like this are things that are expected of someone that has been dead for more than 7 minutes, or for 15 minutes, for 15 minutes. Double and then some of the time that they call a person brain dead and unable to react to the world around them. I still am doing all of these things with you, and the only thing that changed between then and now was that I can now see an HUD. My life is now literally a fucking video game, which I found so interesting, because it was like, I always thought my world was a video game, but when I died and then came back to life and then literally saw my world as a video game, that's when I realized that my mind itself generates my reality. You know, the experience, or my mind itself doesn't generate the reality. My mind is the interpreter of my reality. Since I knew before dying that the only way that I could actually focus on things was when my world was constructed in a way that I could understand. Hence why, oh, fucking, God damn it. Damn it. Okay, this game is...
You react to stimuli the same way I do.
Yeah, and I started getting this HUD. I started seeing like a life bar. Like, I started seeing like press markers. I started seeing shit like over actual people. And like, and that's like, that could be literally, some people could say that it could be hallucination. I honestly just think that it's like a hidden power that just awoke because of the fact that, like, the basis of understanding my world was that all beings in life are connected to a sense of understanding. Everyone's view of the world is different. Everyone's understanding of the world is different. Based off of the concepts that you learn in life or that you understand in life, it shapes your view. When you truly gain mastery of yourself, then your power at some form after death, your initial time, or it may not be your initial time, because some people die more than once in this lifetime. Don't forget that.
I've been dead more than once.
The metamorphosis occurs, which unlocks your first initial power, or at least the base form of how that power is understood. And once you understand that, that's when you can develop your power. People don't understand themselves. People are constantly driven to never understand themselves.
But then you also have to pay attention to what words you use depending on which audience is listening. I mean, something that you might say higher power in an AA meeting, you would say God in church. But a lot of that you might chalk up to science while you're in school, or...
I'm not saying that it's not something that can't be understood, or it's not scientific. I'm just saying that I'm just describing the process of how this awakening happened. And
for you, it was almost dying.
My view of why my awakening happened. And why, I also relate pretty highly to different worlds and different video games, because they're all different just concepts. They're all ideas. They're all worlds based on ideas. We understand the idea, we understand the world, and how to work that idea. The video game concept, or how I see my world as a video game, is like how I see life itself as a concept. I understand the concept of life. That's why I could see it as a video game.
Well, I don't see it as a video game, but that's because I got different influences than you did, and different life that you did. But yeah,
and that's the point. Like everyone's view is different. Everyone goes through a different type of world. Everyone also manifests a different type of world constantly. And as such, this is how they become God. This is how they are God. Because their free choice of manifestation of their world and their experience, how it could be similar to other people's but still be very different. It is a reflection, no different than of God. God experiences everything.
You can call God God, or you can call God Allah.
I believe in energy, and energy being unified as one thing, because all energy can't be destroyed. It can only be broken down, changed as needed.
Well, now you're talking about science. There's a bunch of Christian people who aren't going to understand that.
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess if it's describing it to a Christian person, God is energy itself, which is why God is all of us and everything. Which means doing something to any other thing is the same as doing it to God itself.
And that is a good explanation. See, I've been trying to explain to people that the difference between well, my phone died. A lot of stuff that he explained, if you don't understand certain things or haven't been through certain things, it's just going to sound crazy. Sometimes that all comes down to terminology. Like when I say I got ticks, people think bugs. Like, no, they're not bugs. I got a neurological disorder called Tourette syndrome. Different tick. or leading someone on. When you say leading someone on, a lot of people about sex. It must be. It must be. The words leading on. It must be about sex. There's nothing else it could possibly be about. It must be about sex. No, you lied to me. You said you were going to help me. That's leading me on. Now, to somebody who's an idiot, well, they think that by playing it off that means you wouldn't have sex with me, makes it okay that people harm me. Well, you think that, except I still have the proof that it wasn't about sex. So why would you play that way? I literally can't take care of myself because of things that happen to me. I do have to take all of these places to court because in every one of my court dates that I'm going to be going to, well, they're going to try bringing up all them other court dates. Now, I'm hoping that lady gets back a hold of me about going after Mike Boudet. That would be a good start. Now, if I go down to Denver, I got to leave pretty much everything that I paid for here. I don't have a safe place for it, so I'm going to lose all of it. I'm going to lose all the investment. But this fight could save a lot of lives, so I'm hoping. Oh, and Api Chanuka, man. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long to fix that. It's not easy to play video games when you're listening to somebody talk. So Ventus could probably use some time to. For autistic people, we call it defragmenting. Uh, I might try to lay down and get some sleep. It's 4:15 a.m. I will more than likely be having panic attacks all day, but that's every day for me. I'm tired, but I don't get to sleep just because I'm tired. I go to sleep when I'm exhausted and my body quits on me. Then we're to chapel. All right, it's between $28 and $40 by bus once daily. Oh, wrong computer. If I'm gonna send it to him, I need to be able to do it here. Denver, Colorado to Chapel, Nebraska. There should be like an airport ride or something like that. Oh shit! I got too close to the heater again. All right. bus or taxi. Oh, that's not it. Let's see. Airport ride, Denver to Chapel, Nebraska. Dashabout shuttle. Is that it? Let me see. All right, Monday through Sunday. You can tell when I first called Ventus, he was sleeping. But he slowly became more lively, didn't he? I never stopped trying, and they never stopped looking away. People never stopped making excuses why these things were somehow magically okay for my predators. Somehow magically they weren't against the law for my predators to do these things. But if I do them back, oh Lord have mercy, right? I never wanted to do them back. I just wanted a fucking day in court. I just wanted to face my accusers and get the violence to stop. These hospitals and these officers and these lawyers, there needs to be a system of checks and balances. How can they be held accountable if they're using our money to harm innocent people rather than investigate crimes? That money needs to go to making sure that all of those places have cameras with audio for our safety.